One of our leading ecologists, Dan Ramp's actually done a lot of research and found that kangaroos actually play an integral role in the ecosystem functioning, and they can actually be found to protect threatened species or endangered species from further decline. So more common species such as kangaroos and wombats actually have a very important role in the ecosystem functioning in Australia. In a more significant way, they regenerate native grasses just in the way they move around through their faeces, the way their claws push the seeds into the ground like a planting. They protect the Australian bush from fire by creating a grazing pressure so that the understory doesn't proliferate too much. Kangaroo is actually a very important part of the ecology, but they've been persecuted and made out to be quite different to that.
There have been myths spread out regarding kangaroos. One unfounded belief is that kangaroos compete for food with cows. However, this is untrue, as kangaroos prefer to eat different vegetation. Also, the public has been told of the overpopulation of kangaroos, but this is not true as well.
That myth has been propagated by the kangaroo industry, which profits out of killing them, but the truth is that some scientists believe that there's probably about 10% of the kangaroos that there was at White Settlement. So the fact is that kangaroos have actually been decimated through loss of habitat, drought, and the kangaroo industry, which is taking massive amounts of kangaroos and selling them for next to nothing. So yes, a lot of the myth around about kangaroos being in plague proportions, but please don't be brainwashed. Kangaroos can actually only have one joey per year, and this joey has a mortality rate of about 60 to 80%, and it's relying on its mother for about 18 months. So it's impossible for kangaroos to become in plague proportions, and they'll only breed according to what the food availability is. So in drought, they'll actually stop breeding.
Aside from their cruel slaughter, kangaroos are also facing other threats to their existence due to human-caused climate change.
To give you some idea of the amount of killing that's going on, the kangaroo industry has been operating since 1972. We've got some data from 1980 that shows that since 1980, 73 million kangaroos and their joeys have been killed by this commercial industry and made into pet food and sports shoes and exported overseas. On top of this 73 million, 14 million pouch joeys have been killed since 1980 and bashed to death or decapitated. And about 7 million young at foot joeys were orphaned after their mother was killed by the kangaroo industry. Now this combined with years of intense drought, flood, fire and climate change and loss of habitat, as well as legal and illegal killing of kangaroos. We believe that in excess of 2 times the commercial quota of kangaroos, which is 3.6 million, we believe probably every year about 7 to 10 million kangaroos are dying this way. So now we're seeing a situation where government data that was taken from each state and their data shows that kangaroos are now at less than 5 per square kilometre across most of Australia, except probably Victoria and Western Australia. Now this data is defined as a critical minimum density for kangaroos, and the Murray-Darling Commission believes that this is at risk of extinction at these levels. So less than 5 per square kilometre, which they are now at, means the kangaroo is at risk of extinction. Yet the kangaroo industry has been allowed to continue. It's killing kangaroos in areas where they're at risk of extinction. It's killing juveniles of weights around 20 kilograms, and it's killing around 50% female, which has been shown to be a great risk of extinction, and it's also killing them faster than they can breed. So we believe that our kangaroos are really in trouble, and unless the kangaroo industry is stopped straight away, we will lose our icon forever.
Although 60 to 70% of kangaroo meat is consumed within Australia, some is exported and eaten in restaurants around the world. In addition, the skin or leather is also exported to the US and Italy to make soccer shoes, as well as gloves and other such items, and labelled as K-leather or RKT to disguise the fact that they are made from kangaroo skin. While the commercial kangaroo killing industry is marked at $140 million, the tourism industry is worth $60 billion. The second most important reason that visitors come to Australia is to see wild kangaroos, with 50% of tourists saying they are disappointed at not seeing the numbers of wild kangaroos they had hoped to. Clearly, kangaroos are more valuable alive, both from an economic perspective and from an ecological and moral one. Dr. Steve Garlick of the University of the Sunshine Coast in Australia, who rehabilitates sick and injured kangaroos, emphasises that awareness is key to stopping cruelty to kangaroos.
My feeling is that it's got to start in the schools. Good education, not just about the biophysical aspects, the biological aspects of native animals, we know all about that, but about the relations that humans have with animals. There are some ethical considerations there that children in schools could learn more about, but the relationship between these animals and the non-human animals and the human animals, I think some of those relationships could be taught in the schools. And I think that's a good place to start.
The only way to stop the inhumane treatment of kangaroos is to not support the industry. Furthermore, we can save lives by refraining from the consumption and use of all products containing kangaroo or other animals. We can also sign petitions such as the one found at www.gopetition.com/petitions/kangarooextinction.html to voice our opinion that this animal cruelty must halt. Kangaroos are truly gentle and wonderful beings who deserve our respect and protection. Thank you for your presence today for Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants on Supreme Master Television. Coming up next is enlightening entertainment right after noteworthy news. Let us herald a new era in peaceful coexistence with all beings.